Just recently, I was challenged over the falling of the Twin Towers. Now, the disciples of Judy Woods won't rest until they get the vast majority of us that believe the truth on their side. Now, they're on to a losing battle, because their theories are simply theories, whereas we stand by evidence, and evidence is unbending. It is absolute. And the problem is with the disciples of Judy Woods, that great guru and con artist, is that they can't defeat the evidence, that wall, that solid wall. And so they start to shout and to scream at it. By heck, can't they just shout and scream and carry on? Because they can't get round the wall, they can't get over the wall, they cannot demolish the wall. Maybe they should use a ray gun. Eh? But there's one thing here that I would like to ask. Because as they continue on, pushing and pushing and pushing, we push back. And we drive them back. They're stupid, you know. Stupid. Blind. Absolutely blind. As a lamppost. They don't see that the more they push us, the more we're pushing them back. But the thing I'd like to ask them, and they won't respond to this in any evidential way. This Judy Wood, working for the government of the USA and security service that is attached to the government of the USA. And when we say government of the USA, we mean all its tentacles, the CIA, Homeland Security, the FBI and the rest. Is she working for them? Well, we know Michael Moore is supporting the government. We know Alex Jones is supporting the government. And yet, they bring this theatre before us that we believe from out of this pantomime that they put on, that they're against the government, that they're for us. They're not. They're not. Michael Moore upholds that the likes of Columbine, for instance, was a real event, and it's plainly not a real event. And he's got his money from that. By heck. Alex Jones, bringing in an actress or a woman or female in the New York bombing of a dumpster. That station actually employed a young female to do a piece to camera to back up the government statement that a dumpster had been exploded. I've got the footage. I've uploaded it to show exactly what Alex Jones' network did. The man who keeps flitting from building to building. We wonder where he gets all the money from. And then, of course, when he starts to begin to get exposed, then something has to be done. And then there's another promotional theme. Shut him down. And then what? Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Because it encourages everybody, you see. If you go, say, against Alex Jones and you take him off the air, and then people are going to gather around and say, oh, he was true. They shut him down. And that's exactly what the plan is by those who shut him down. You don't think they sit around boardroom tables drinking tea and coffee all day, do you? Discussing nothing. They planned everything. Like Bin Laden, he'd come to the end of his usefulness as a character, and so as a character in the story that has been told down the years, even his family were characters. He and his family disappear. He himself apparently shot and then dumped overboard a ship. Alright. But you see, when a lie is spun long enough, it actually becomes seen as truth. Bin Laden and his family are true according to our minds, because it has been spun long enough. But as soon as we sit down, as some have done, and go through the evidence, we can see that all these are characters. Just simple characters. And then faces change. One moment they're young, fine. Next minute they're old, fine. Next minute they're being interviewed, say next day or the day after, and they're young again. Different features. Remember how it was pulled, that character actor, on 9/11? Because they fouled up and people were saying, hey, hang on a minute, that's not Bin Laden. And the government saying, Bin Laden, here's his message. Oh no, it wasn't, that's not his message. And it had to be pulled very quickly. They got caught out. And then of course, as they say in the establishment, let's give it some time. Okay, and then we'll get rid of him. And then of course in between time you have a reporter, and this is another mind game. They have a reporter and his cameraman find the cave of Bin Laden, whilst the FBI and the CIA and all the rest of them cannot find it, and people are going, they're playing us. You see, they're enhancing by theatre that Bin Laden was a real person. If we go through history, we can compare this. Let us go for recent history. There is a group of Protestants in Northern Ireland and in England and Wales and Scotland who were following a character. Right? And he was a character. Ian Carl Paisley Sr. I'm not saying he wasn't real, right? But he was a character. You know, he stood up and vociferously shouted and bawled and so-called campaigned against the IRA and Sinn Féin. Oh, and he laid into Sinn Féin something rotten. More than the IRA, he sort of touched that, but very little. But it was Sinn Féin. And down the years, this character of a man drew people to him. And he denounced not only Sinn Féin, but the likes of Hume, the Roman, I was going to say Roman Catholic has nothing to do with it, but the Romanist. Ian Paisley called the Romanist Church the Antichrist. He put on this great big theatre and people believed that this man was what he was. And he drew thousands to it. His particular aim, it is clear, was to get to high office instalment. And once he got to the high office instalment, okay, the Northern Irish Parliament, he then threw off the cloak. He then declared himself to be a Romanist. He then declared himself to be Sinn Féin IRA. And people were just stunned. Absolutely stunned. You see, for many years he had portrayed this thing about being a staunch Protestant and one against Sinn Féin. Life is not always what it appears to be. We are being played. The firmness in the minds of the Protestants was that Ian Paisley was what he was, a staunch Protestant. He was nothing of the sort. Bin Laden is a reality, as much as Ian Paisley was a reality in the minds, again, of the Protestants. He was a real Protestant, he wasn't. With Bin Laden, of course, you've got the physical actors and his so-called family. Now, again, something that's impressed upon the general public just comes to mind. Recent date. In Salisbury, 2 persons were said, okay, that's the story, were said to have collapsed on a park bench and the police arrived, which they don't in real life, however. Ambulances arrive, that's the first order and the proper order. Okay, according to the story, ambulances arrived and took them away, and it was discovered that they were father and daughter, and that they'd been attacked by Putin and Novichok. And the TV, of course, put archive footage on of the two, and people didn't, twig. It was archive footage. Where's the real footage of these buggers in bed? Where are they? In the hospital, in bed. Where were they coming out? To banks of cameras, flashing. But to the minds of people, in general, these are 2 real people. But there's no evidence that they ever existed except on archive footage. And the archive footage, who says they are whom the media says they are, and government says they are? It could be any bugger. Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the government, and you'll dance to me. And we are the media, and you'll dance to us also. So dance, dance, wherever you may be. We are the lords of the dance, said they. And I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all to the dance, said they. Hey? Come on everybody, dance, 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 wherever you may be. Aye, as the government plays the pegging tune and the media plays the tune, people are dancing to it. Like silly buggers. We shouldn't be silly buggers, we should be adults, we should be grown up, we should be sensible. We should know how this sodding world works and the establishment of this world works. We'll come back to this, Judy Woods. One moment.